for anybody who's a huge Roman Reigns fan and wants to feel as if, oh, listen, I want the Roman Reigns of the head of the bloodline and things like that. I don't think we're going to really see that, though, because a lot of it depends on Roman Reigns' schedule now and Roman Reigns' availability. He's got other avenues now where he has to make commitments. So I think at this stage, and I'm not saying this to make Roman Reigns sound old or he's 1 foot at the door theoretically, but kind of allows him to help other individuals kind of get to that level because, let's be honest, in terms of the run that Roman Reigns had for what an impressive run it was, I don't know if you can really duplicate that. And at that point, everything was built on building up Roman. Now it's only appropriate that you're building up other superstars. So yeah, you're right. I think the right man won. Right now, it's a huge. We've talked about before, Jeff. Remember when the Roman had lost the title at WrestleMania 40, and you saw this other side of Roman now, this vulnerability. He was no longer the tribal chief, although he does call himself the OTC. It's more of this now kind of confused, kind of like lost his way in a sense that things that came easy aren't easy anymore. It's not guaranteed that he's going to win the match. It's not guaranteed that he's just so good now that there are other people leveling up to him. So I think the right guy won. And obviously, for Bronson being in his home country in Australia, missing it last year, great homecoming for him, great reception. Yeah, I think the right man won because the long-term wise, guys like Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, they're your future and you want to build up to it. So I understood why they did that.
So Bronson's the heel, so is the Vision, and you had all this stuff going on the outside. You had Jimmy and Jey Uso come into the ring after Bronson Reed was being helped out by Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker delivers a spear to Roman. Then all that stuff goes on the outside. Braun with the spear to Jimmy Uso. Then Jimmy Uso is out of it. Then you got Jey Uso who's trying to help out Roman, accidentally spears Roman into the table. Then Bronson Reed with the tsunami beats Roman Reigns. Basically, it doesn't hurt Roman Reigns because all this outside interference is the reason why Bronson Reed won, which obviously he's the heel, so it doesn't hurt him in that. But he gets a pinfall. I think they said something about only the second guy to pin Roman Reigns in like a gazillion years. So, I mean, that's a great thing to have on your resume. And they're really pushing how, like, this guy, anytime he wants on the post show, could challenge for a world championship because that's how much elevated now Bronson Reed is. So, hey, that checks off the big mark, right, on Bronson. Want to see how they get Braun Breaker now involved because this is the guy. This is, to me, the guy, the future, the guy that's going to main event WrestleMania for 10 straight years like Roman will do, has done. So, you're wondering how they're going to do it with Braun, but what's interesting to me is that this idea, Trendsetter, and I don't know when it started, but again, the IWC loves to poke at stuff, and this thing where Triple H hates Roman Reigns or despises Roman Reigns in favor of Cody Rhodes, that he's a QB1. And I noticed this earlier in the week during media where Roman Reigns was on the Pat McAfee show and he talked about, coming off of the Street Fighter, he was filming that and then having to go being a little sore and not feeling too good. The body, mind you, this man is, deals with leukemia and the after effects and stuff like that, even though he's cured, he takes medication, right? And he mentioned that he was a little bit sore with this flight and everything like that. But then, he kiboshed. He says, no, I'm good. I'm good. And then Triple H posts repost something that Cody Rhodes working at a gym, talking about he went from Dubai to this, now doing ESPN Media, Make-A-Wish, then going to Perth. And to me, I didn't see anything as a shot at Roman Reigns whatsoever, and not at all. Listen, now, do you have people that you're pushing? Yeah, because he's a current champion right now. But I don't see any disdain or dislike that Triple H in the booking plans that he has for Roman Reigns whatsoever. I think it's something that's being made up, and I'm like, are you out of your mind? Where is this coming from? And the fact that a guy like you were mentioning, Trendsetter, who is pushing it forward, playing it forward, this booking of Roman Reigns, listen, he will get that championship eventually. This is what it's building to. That's what the storyline here, which I'm glad now you're getting kind of that Bloodline storyline again. Hopefully we're in that zone where this is going to happen. But like this imaginary thing, and again, once he lost, the post saying, "My God, Triple H hates Roman Reigns. Look at the booking Triple L for doing this to Roman Reigns." My God, like, what are you guys seeing that I'm not seeing? Because Trendsetter, I do not believe in a million years that Roman Reigns, the guy who built all this, let's be honest, the guy who's who all this stuff. I love Cody. I love you to death. But all this, all the PLEs, all this stuff with TK, all this has been on the back of Roman Reigns. Why would Triple H have this disdain or this dislike or this favoritism of Cody over over Roman Reigns? I don't see it, Trent Center. I think it's so overblown and it's ridiculous. What are your thoughts? Because I don't see this at all, of this disdain that Triple H has for Roman Reigns.
Well, the quick answer to that is I don't see anything that shows the fact that Triple H hates Roman Reigns or is doing this in terms of damaging Roman or booking him in a way that's damaging to his career or in this case his legacy. Not at all. Roman Reigns has built a legacy now where, you know, you hate to say this, you know, because sometimes people take advantage of it, but like no matter if you had him lose every single match from this point on to the end of his career, his legacy would still be cemented. Not that's going to happen, but it would still be cemented as one of the greatest runs and one Hall of Fame career, if you want to call it that. Because
Well, it is.
I don't think he's done right now. But no, but I'm saying I'm not going to call Hall of Fame right now just because I don't think he's done officially yet anytime soon. Maybe a little bit less than a normal full-time schedule. But regardless of that, I don't see any of that. Listen, when you look at scenarios where the old regime with Vince McMahon, you could definitely tell Roman was his guy. Cena was his guy. And what did you see time and time again? Cena winning, Roman winning, them being put in positions where they were the faces of the company and things were more favored to them, right? But you're right, too, to the point where I was just saying, like, how could a guy like Triple H hate Roman when if not for Roman and him putting the company on his shoulders, on his back, whatever analogy you want to use here, the TKO deal doesn't happen. Sorry, TKO deal. I need to speak English this early this morning. That deal doesn't happen. What's going on right now at the PLEs and the stream, I don't think that happens. I don't think where the WWE is right now does not occur, and I'll give him his flowers. If it wasn't for this whole Roman Reigns situation, as much as everybody was against it, ended up at the end loving it so much that, you know, even Roman said too during his lengthy title reign that as soon as I'm gone, you're going to want me back. And we saw the chance of we want Roman. And here you go. This is what we're getting at right now with Roman, not the original tribal chief in the sense of the aura that he had, but a newer version of Roman that people have to get used to. And to just make my second point here is the fact that, you know, Triple H is a Cody fan, and Triple H is going to lean more towards Cody because that's his guy. That, you know, when you see a coach come over and take over a new team that already has an existing player, but they're like, you know what, we appreciate what you've done. It's not like I'm keep giving you the boot, but that's my guy. That's the guy I drafted. That's the guy I picked, and I want that guy to be the face of my company. I think that's what Triple H is doing right now. That's how much he sees in Cody as being his QB1, and he's going to ride that. So I can't fault him on that too, because that's who he favors more. Not that he doesn't like Roman, but he favors Cody more in the situation. So that's why we're getting this dynamic. But at no sense do I have this feeling or proof through social media posts that can be so easily manipulated that Triple H has it out for Roman or has this dislike for him. You couldn't do that. And I'd be hard pressed to find out a reason besides a post of how you want to interpret it on social media that Roman and Triple H have heat with each other. I don't see it.
Yeah, and I mentioned before, like it just makes no sense. Like, why would that happen? You're talking about Roman
It's
Reigns having
clickbait, Jeff.
Roman Reigns. I go, but they're just trying to stir it up and anger people. And again, it just I don't see it. You're talking about Roman Reigns and his Hall of Fame career. I'm going to call it right now. Yeah, he's winding it down as far as like matches and stuff like that and dates and stuff. But you know, it's already been Hall of Fame career after WrestleMania after he lost to Cody. But again, like you're right about there being a maybe a preference to Cody because he is maybe the guy right now. But I just see it because he's the champion. If Roman Reigns was the champion, I would see it. I would say, hey, he's the guy. He's going to be QB1, and I think Cody did a good job on SmackDown, kind of explaining, hey, listen, you know, I could be QB1 right now. Or if I'm not doing my job, someone else could be a QB1, and I think that's what people right now are just aiming at stuff and looking at this thing, and maybe it does it for the better because they'll get people riled up when the eventuality that you get Cody and Roman face to face again, because I do believe that will happen you know, down the road. It has to, in my
It has
opinion,
to happen. It has to
right?
happen.
So I think that'll draw the ire of people that are Cody and Roman Reigns fans, but I think it's just getting way too early, and thinking that Triple H just has this disdain is just BS. Because that's what I say. The way they're saying it's not preferential. Because if you say preference, fine. But to say that this is not like and is purposely booking Roman in the way he is, I mean, that just to me it just does not make sense whatsoever. But back to the match though, Roman and Jimmy and Jey, it's not working out. It's obviously, you mentioned as well that Roman kind of has this rep where he's thinking that these people don't think that I'm doing it on my own, and he kind of wants to be alone. Yet he's giving advice to Jey and to Jey mostly that it's about you, that it has to be about you. And I think it's the Roman era where he wants to do it by himself. It's kind of weird, right? You want to see the Bloodline get back together, but Roman is not looking for that right now, which is kind of weird because they've been interacting with each other for a bit now. The last times that Roman's been back, so it's going to be an interesting dynamic. But I'm glad though that we have to talk about this because the era of no Bloodline talk and what happened on SmackDown with the MFTs getting back together, it's kind of not that they should rely on it, but it's good to have it back because there are a lot of untold stories too that we can still do with the Bloodline.
Yeah, listen, if there's going to be interaction between the Bloodline anymore, Jeff, it's going to be after Christmas because Roman doesn't want to see Sue until after that.
You know, I would have said I don't want. I thought you would say to me, I don't want to see you till Christmas. I thought that would happen first before Roman would say that to this, and we're only in October, so I really thought you'd probably say that to me like around September. But maybe I'm doing a good thing. Maybe I'm not getting on your nerves as much as I used to.
Maybe it's early in the morning, probably for me. You know, I'm so used to it right now, I've become numb to it. But no, I think what you're saying is that I see the point to it, but for me, what I see is that it's Roman right now in the scenario. Like again, we haven't seen this version of Roman now where it's now just nothing's working. He's kind of like scrambling to get some resemblance of what he once was from a character standpoint, and now creating a monster within himself. Because let's be honest, Jeff, this whole scenario with Jey and the popularity that's built up for Jey, where now he's doing the yeet, and the crowd's behind him, and they just believe in him to be that moniker, which calls himself main event Jey Uso, right? It all started during the pandemic because at that point Jimmy was injured. You had that battle between Roman and Jey, and then Jey finally submitting to the Bloodline and calling him his tribal chief. This was a long-term story built to the point where even Roman said it too, that I could be misconstruing the storyline real quick, but the fact that you're the next tribal chief in a sense, and now putting that in Jey's mind. And let's be honest too, when you look at Jey, I'll be the one to say it, you might not agree with it, but I think they wanted to strap that racket on him. He won the Intercontinental title and finally won his first individual title against Gunther, lost it again, then beat Gunther for the world title at WrestleMania. And I just think at that point, he just wasn't ready. As much as people want to say, oh, he had the popularity and people behind him, maybe just mentally you just weren't ready to be the face of the company, be that champion.
Yeah.
Taking it back. So now we're getting another version. Now we're getting the side of Jey right now, which is he doesn't trust anybody. And Roman's been putting that seed in his head in terms of it's about you. It's about you. It's all going to be about you. So now we're seeing that turmoil within the Bloodline. Really cool dynamic there too. And it's a monster that Roman has built. And I feel down the line he's going to have to answer for, which will be great for another great match.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think now, with everything that you found out about Jey Uso and then how he's not the champion anymore, do you think it was more of, again, like they were going to go with CM Punk was going to be the original guy, right? That they wanted, and then they were like, "Oh, let's change it up, let's do whatever," and they decided to put the Rocket on Jey. Do you think that was something more that was done for the Netflix show Unreal? Do you think that now looking back on it, I can't speak English. Do you think looking back on it, it was done for that show more than Jey was deserving of it? Obviously deserved it, but
hard to tell though, right? It's hard to tell what they presented on the show that was actually real. It was just scripted. We were all being played. Was it a work? I'm not sure.
Again, it's interesting though, right? Like, but
It's
if
easy
you were
to
to
say that, yeah.
no, and we'll not be like some of our politicians here. We're going to give you yes or no. What do you think? Yes or no? You think it was kind of, hey, we got the show Unreal. Let's start it off. If we're doing a WrestleMania segment to this, let's do with a Jey Uso thing, and that's why the push was made, because again, they show you what you want to see.
Of course, I'll answer the question. I say yes, but only because of the popularity he had gained. If he didn't get the popularity, the crowd was just eating, then it would have been part of that show. So yeah, no, I think it was part of it because it's a great storyline and scenario of showing what they do or what they supposedly do when the crowd's behind a certain superstar or wrestler, whatever you want to call it. I think that's what the message they wanted to send. So yes, I do think it was just part of the show for Unreal, the documentary so that they could show the, oh, this is what we do. We veered in another direction, although it was pre-planned, and now we're going to put it on Jimmy. But as we saw, once The Rock was put on Jimmy, it didn't. Sorry, Jay. They look so much alike, Jeff. I'm sorry. No, I'm joking. When you put the rocket on Jay, it just wasn't what they expected, or nor do I think it was what Jay expected either. And how could he expect it too? Because this was the first time he's being put in this situation. So I don't think you and I, or a lot of people watching this stream, or just anybody in general, will understand the feeling that it is to be put as the guy, and to think you're ready for it, or to think you can handle it, and realize that you can't at this moment. Not saying that he can't do it, but at that point, in that moment, in my mind, it was considered a failure.
So listen, we're talking about Roman anyways. We're talking about the whole Bloodline angle. I think that's good. So I get us talking because I think this loss, again, doesn't hurt it, and it adds to the dynamic. It's part of the story. And again, these people that are just bitching and complaining about, oh, you lost. How are you doing this? It's part of a story, man. And that's why I think now all of a sudden we were missing that story part. And now we're actually talking about stories. We're actually breaking down the stories, and not bad ratings, not TKO and their money grubbing ways. And we're not talking about gymnastics. We're not talking about, again, expensive premium live events, the hours, the time zone. We're talking about storylines, which I think is refreshing for us. And that's what we're talking about this one. And I think this is the match that sets up all these storylines that you're seeing. And I think the last week or so, even though I think Raw is still show, it did really start to develop storylines and branch out in a lot of different directions. And listen, it just shows because we're talking about Roman's storyline instead of this match right here.
Yeah, listen, in terms of branching out and kind of giving us things that we're not expecting, which is always a great thing as a wrestling fan, right? And we had a comment from Hugh Cottonmouth King, who said, I still can't believe they name dropped the Bullet Club. Even AJ was taken aback by it. It's a nice surprise. It is, because it's things we're not expecting. And I'm not saying that it always has to be that way, but sometimes to make it not predictable. Like, you and I had discussions about this too, and I said to you, they were building it up towards, possibly Roman losing, or the main event would happen. We'll talk about that in a few. But it's nice that it's not predictable. It's nice that the fact that sometimes you'll get these little things like the homages that John Cena did, and we'll talk about that in a few. It was great, and that's what you want as a fan. Not only just intriguing and compelling storylines like you're saying, Jeff, but the ability to be surprised every now and then is a great thing. It's the reason why we watch it as fans.
Perfect example with the Bullet Club reference too, and also the Walls of Jericho reference, which is
sweet, baby.
In the AJ Styles and Cena match, which a lot of people are going to start talking. So they tell you, they'll give you stuff that they want to give you. So again, that's a great question for you guys, the IWC, the HSP universe, the crew. Do you guys think that Jey Uso, the push had a lot to do with the Unreal on Netflix? And because honestly, though, I would have loved to see CM Punk in that spot, but Jey Uso, again, if it was not for the yeet and the reaction, I don't think he'd be in the spot too. So he did deserve it, but I gotta question whether that Unreal on Netflix kind of pushed a little bit more to the accelerator towards Mania, because it was just, it kind of starts to put the pieces together now. But
fair to say that.
Again, what we're thinking about though right now is this whole Bloodline storyline and what happens now with War Games coming up and it's looming. How are they going to get this together to take on the Vision? Because that seems like that's the direction it's going to. But how are they going to turn all this around, though, by Survivor Series? So that's going to be interesting. And again, it's good to talk about the Bloodline once again. Whether they get together or not, we'll see. But right now, Roman wants to go solo. Jey Uso walks out on Jimmy saying, hey, Roman's going to be Roman. Obviously, Roman, again, saying the whole world thinks I can't do this shit on my own. And I'm glad they got the word. I'm glad they got the curse in there too. ESPN, they got that in there too, because it just showed the emphasis of how Roman feels. Sometimes curses are good. Not like, not just throwing them out there for anything, but because that's how he feels. It's that heat of the moment too. He goes, no, I love y'all, but I don't want to see y'all. You know what I mean? So
one could also say, Roman, how ungrateful are you, man? Honestly, for guys that you expected to be there and have your back at all times, trying to have your back. But the thing is, maybe he's being ungrateful. You know why? Because the result didn't end up the way he wanted it to be. So maybe sour grapes, whatever. So as much as people want to claim, or like you're saying right now, maybe it's Roman just wants to do it on his own. Well, when he was the tribal chief, when he was this dominant force, he didn't do it on his own. He could claim that he did it, but he had help of his Usos. He had helps of the Usos to help him to win those matches, to retain that title. So it's very contradictory in terms of Roman. I think right now, hopefully, maybe during Christmas, he'll calm down. He'll put his little follow back on and feel a bit better about it. But at this point right now, we have a Roman Reigns right now who is in self-doubt of himself, which is an interesting dynamic to have. And you have a guy like Jey, who is about to explode any second now. And you have a guy like Jimmy, who's unfortunately the guy in the middle, who just doesn't fit anywhere right now within these two personalities of Jey, the monster that Roman created.
Also, too, though, and again, I love talking about story. Don't you think, too, kind of Roman's at fault, too? Because even though he said he doesn't want, he's like, I don't want you to come in there and I want to do it alone. Wink, wink, right?
Yeah.
Kind of maybe get to make signals. And also, too, Roman has been really giving Jey advice. So don't you think Jey wanted to prove? It's like, again, that Big Brother, that kind of that cartoon, the Warner Brother cartoon with the little puppy again, it follows the bulldog, whatever, like that, and he follows him around, whatever. Jey is trying
really
to
dating ourselves with that one. Yeah.
Jey is trying so hard to prove himself to Roman to get his acknowledgement, to get his approval. And Roman's throwing out this advice to Jey. How could Jey not want to go out there? It's
and I feel for Jimmy though, because Jimmy's like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not.
Yeah.
You're showing favoritism to Jey. Jey's always been your guy, and I'm not that. So again, it's interesting dynamics on every side. The Roman side, Jey's side, wanting to prove himself to Roman for some reason, wants that validation from him, and Jimmy, who finds himself on the outside looking in terms of seeing this turmoil going on between the members of the original Bloodline.
Yeah, so there you go with that one. Again, that was it was a really good match to open it up. Very tough physical. Roman Reigns took some spears, and he's giving back. That's what Roman Reigns is